Join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
This February, history comes alive in our community. Rainier Avenue Radio proudly presents a 2026 Call to Conscience Black History Month celebration, a month-long experience honoring the people, places, and stories that shaped Seattle and the nation. From powerful exhibits and live conversations to original storytelling, performances, and community dialogues, Call to Conscience connects past, present, and future. Told by us, for us. Experience the Black History Month Museum, special tribute, live radio broadcasts, family programming, and voices from across generations, all centered on truth, culture, and legacy. This isn't just an event, it's a call to remember, a call to honor, a call to act. Join Rainier Avenue Radio and our community partners this February at the historic Columbia City Theater. For the full schedule of events and updates, visit calltoconscience.org. Call to Conscience 2026, where history speaks and the community listens.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Sports Weekly. What's going on, y'all? Yeah, there we go. Reading stuff on the side, but hey, here we go. Well, I mean, what is there to say? They are one win away from the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks. An exciting win over the San Francisco 49ers. A little bit of a surprise because there's obvious blowout. And we're going to dive deep into it, much as we can with Corbin Smith. He was there. I was there. And again, for those that, I don't know, can you be a sport fan and turn into this show? Probably. Anyways, the score was 41-6. And Rashid Shaheed, opening kickoff, 95 yards, and just set Lumen Field electric. So that was really good. And then the defense just dominated. So a lot to talk about. Let me add just in that same sentence that then what happens? Zach Charbonnet injured in the second quarter on a run. And that was some devastating news that was confirmed by Mike McDonald yesterday. But he's out for the season. So we'll kind of get an update from Corbin, what he sees, what he thinks. And the Seahawks have a couple moves that they can make there. They've got two running backs on the injured reserve. Not injured reserve. They have one on the injured reserve, and that is George Halani. Remember, he played early on, good special team. But what they really have is they have two people, Velus Jones and also Cam Akers, who used to play for, you got it, the Rams. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right to D-Money, my little nephew. Y'all know him. Actually, I should call my other nephew and see how the show went. Us Mariah involved in music and sports, and also people don't know the medical profession and academia. So we're just not about music in sports. There's just a whole lot of, we're actually more academia than you would think, PhDs all over the place. But I digress because I'd love to know how the show went. That one that was hosted there at Columbia City Theater. And that one, my nephew, was Yanai. It was the headliner of that. And so I'd like to hear about that. I'll have to call him or maybe get him on the show. But now we're going to go to Doomy, Drez. And he's got this video on the dark side that he made up Real catchy. So D Money, can we play that? It's the one you can see the players and the Seahawks there. And this is what
My
he...
born 3, 1, 2, 3.
M.O.B. M.O.B.
Yeah.
M.O.B. M.O.B.
You are now entering the death zone.
M.O.B.
Welcome to the dark side.
M.O.B.
It's time to eat, boys.
M.O.B.
Mob mentality.
M.O.B.
And when we say mob, we mean mission over. Welcome to the dark side. When you see that blue and green, know it's mob ties. Defending every blade of grass when we collide. It's Seattle when it's raining and we outside. Yeah, we outside, everybody outside. Whole city going up like it's our time. You hungry, we can provide some beef up front and pancakes from my old line. It goes down in these trenches, and Murphy is a goon that I mentioned. I got a big cat and a K9, stat on the goal line, so holla at me when it's go time. 21, can you do something for me? I'm everywhere like a mean man worried. Wait, hold up, I gotta shout out my African, Ian Jigba, you know he's sicker than most. When he run the post, he getting ghosts. When we flex, we don't skip steps, we do the reps. E. Jones told us that's how you build a legacy. Some game from your boy Dre's in the
M.O.B. 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 M.O.B.
You are now entering the death zone.
M.O.B.
Welcome to the dark side.
M.O.B. 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 You're in the death zone. Welcome to the dark side.
12 as one, you know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine. What you know about the death zone? We don't want it easy, we rather work for it. That's the time we on. Going crazy in the hotness. Man, we got this thing feeling like a mosh pit. Focus, man, mission over bullshit. But we don't talk about that Super Bowl, I'm still sick, It's still shout out to the LOB, but my young boys popping and it's M.O.B. Big Mike brought us back, now we starting to believe. Now it's everything earned and there ain't nothing free. When that D-line coming and the linebackers hunting and the hawk get to swooping and the crab get to buzzing and the secondary swarming and the quarterback slanging, feel like everybody's open. You rocking with the M.O.B.
M.O.B.
Yeah.
M.O.B. M.O.B.
You are now entering the death zone. Welcome to the dark side.
M.O.B.
You boys got 53.
M.O.B.
We got 70.
M.O.B.
My born
You're in
3.
the death zone.
1, 2, 3, my side.
You are now entering the death zone. Welcome to the dark side.
All right, there you go. Kind of catchy, wouldn't you say? Absolutely. And again, that was Dre's. You using all different platforms, so you can go there and I don't know, download it, play it. It's one of the team's theme songs, and players like it. So, all right. D-Money, who's the third person? Let me know when Corbin comes in, because Corbin is, as I said. So, just looking at this game, I know that's right. All right, I love it. I love our YouTube. Hey, y'all on YouTube, man. You know what? You can ask questions. Feel free to, because we're really trying to get this to be an interactive chat. So go ahead. I appreciate y'all checking in, but check in and say something, ask something or whatnot. And there's the stream with audio only. All right. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, look, so we'll talk. Well, I'm just going to get right into it. I was going to put a video, but until Corbin comes on, the question now is this matchup with the Rams, right? And what are you going to do in the running back situation? But, I would say when you kind of, I'm going to go, we're going to go right into that. I think one of those matchups, in terms of what do I think, it's interesting that let's start with the wide receivers. I think one of the things that people, fans on both teams are really, really going to, I'll get to the Darnold question in a second there, but that is a treat, is this Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba matchup. In the two games that they've played, Jackson Smith-Njigba has 17 receptions, 201 yards, and 1 touchdown. Horton will not play. Let me one of those things. So that's one. And the reason somebody asked a question there, and I'll get to the Horton as well. And I got to write all these down. But also the other thing is Puka Nacua. In 2 games, again, he's got 14 receptions, 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think that's a matchup that both coaches are going to try and negate. They're not going to be able to shut them down. D-Money, I can't see the comments. They're too small for me on the screen. I think that's one of the matchups that's there. And both of those, again, Puka Nacua and Jackson Jigma are going to get theirs. The question then is, who else is going to step up in the secondary role? And oddly enough, it's going to be your 2 tight ends, and that is A.J. Barner. I wouldn't be afraid of this game, excuse me, but I think it is a chess match. I think it's what you want. Yeah, you'd rather play the Bears, but as I said, both coaches, this is why John Schneider hired Mike Macdonald for this game. This is exactly why he went out 2 years ago and said, I'm going to get the best defensive coordinator, the young genius, the kryptonite of Sean McVay. Because Sean McVay undoubtedly is the best offensive play caller there is. And this game is about even. I mean, this one has been back and forth. Remember the first game, Donald, 4 interceptions. So again, let me go back to the tight ends. I think Colby Parkinson, remember, he used to play here and against A.J. Barner. That's another matchup that I think is going to be critical in terms of to watch. And again, it's in that regard, it's going to go with the linebackers. It's going to go with the ability to which of those coaches, that is, can Mike Macdonald dial up the right offensive schemes and get Ernest Jones in the right position. You've got the defensive line that's there. Leonard Williams is eaten. And I would say the other one, Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy is really the player at what he's doing because he's taking 2. He's eating up 2 players in terms of the run game and also the pass game, so that when they're doing the double team, when they're sliding that line to his side, when they get deep with Corbin about this, but when the offensive line will slide a certain way, that is to put extra attention on a certain player. And I've talked to Byron Murphy, and he said, yes, he's noticed that's happening more and more now, which is just really amazing. So then the other thing that you like about the Seahawks, Kobe Bryant is back, and he had a good game. Reek Woolen is playing a really good game. I talked to him after the game, and he feels healthy, head on right, and with Julian Love back there, I think that's just you're solid. And I can't mention the back of the Seahawks defensive backs without mentioning. No, Riley Mills will not play. Is he on the roster? Yeah. I think they'd have to elevate him. But I can tell you right now that Devon Weatherspoon is the guy, right? He is going to make that team go, and he does with the energy that's there. And I know some of y'all got tickets. And when you get there, I'm not going to be a fanboy, but you know what to do, right? Now, let's go back to the Sam Darnold question. Yeah, he's going to play. And he is much more ready, that he's in a better position now in terms of dealing with that injury. Now, one of the things that you got to understand is that he did take this Tedarol, and it kind of, for the oblique muscle. And that's why he didn't come out. Remember, there's 2 warm-ups the players do. There's the one they show up, like at least an hour and a half. They're on the field. And then so when they're out there, they go out and they warm up in their T-shirts, shorts, and whatnot. Some don't even wear anything just to make a statement. Now, after that, they go back in, because that's the one to kind of see if there's, you always hear about the pregame warm-up. That's the one they're testing everything, the agility and everything else, just in terms of their strains, sprains, anything to see that they're ready. Then they go back in the locker room and then they put on the pads and then they come out in their formations. And those are the ones, if you're at the game, y'all, when you're early, you can kind of see who's going to start. So what the Seahawks did with Donald is rather than having him go out on the first set of warmups, he told us he threw in the Seahawks locker room. Now, if you've ever been in the Seahawks locker room at Lumen Field, it's big. It's big enough. Okay, let me be specific, right? Big doesn't give you anything. It's probably, let's say about 20 yards. No. Let me see, 10, 20, 30. I'll ask Corbin about this, but it's about 30 yards in terms of, all, with the lockers all aligned. And now I'm going to be about 15 to 20 minutes late. All right, that's fine. And so that's really how the length of that. And then in terms of, so he was warming up in there. And that was critical to see whether he was going to be able to play. And so he was fine for the most part. He was obviously under pain. There's just no doubt, he was. And let me tell you, what it does when you have an oblique muscle is that if I'm facing you and then I turn to my right with the ball, right, I can do that with a little bit of discomfort. What I can't do with an oblique muscle is then turn to the left. Why is that important? If I'm scanning down the field and let's say I'm looking to the right and I'm dropped back and I'm looking for Smith-Njigba on the right, that's fine. He does a curl route. He does a go route. 15 down, let's say A.J. Barner does. He goes 10 and cuts inside. What I'm not going to be able to see is, let's say, Rashid Shaheed on the far left side, that route. And that's what's limiting, has limited Donald in that perspective. That's what limited him, but he got better and he kept warm in the second half. All right. So, I think some other matchups here that you're going to, take a look at is who steps in at the running back position, Velus Jones and Cam Akers. And Jones had 8 carries when he subbed in. Remember, Charbonnet got injured in the second quarter on that run. And so then you just, depending on whether you were there or whether in the TV, you heard that, okay, he's injured. But the Seahawks did a really good job of masking that, or I wouldn't say not needing him, but playing without him. And because Ken Walker was just on fire. You saw that just in terms of how many yards, 116 yards there. So when you're running the ball there, if you ask me, Cam Akers is the veteran, but they obviously went with Velus Jones. So in that, they like him, and what the Seahawks will do today. And I got to tell you, we won't know until tomorrow because they're off today. And that is George Halani. Remember, he started early in the season. So now he didn't start, but he was on the 53-man roster. The Seahawks can make one more move. That is from the injured reserve to designated to play. Now, remember, no, you're not. You're not out of call-ups. You can make as many call-ups as you want and can from the practice squad to the normal, to the game day roster. What you're out of as a Seahawk is you'll have one more move you can make, and that is to go from injured reserve designated to play. Designated to practice. Now, remember, if you're designated to practice, the team has 21 days in which they either have to, 21 or 28. I'm going to Google that. I do not want to tell you, but I think it's 21 days to be able to, 21 days to return to practice. And why that's critical is you have to, 21 days it is. And so it's 21 days. And in that, so that's no good. Yeah, it's okay. In that 21 days, what you have to do is you have to go out and either put the player on the 53-man roster, or you have to leave him on injured reserve list, or he has to go through waivers. And so that's the decision they will make. Look, I think this game is going to come down to the wire. This isn't going to be a blowout. Why would you expect it to be a blowout, right? I mean, the first two games were close. And again, as I said, both of these coaches are mastermind. What you're going to look for, McVay is going to try to exploit the Seahawks defense where Nick Emenwari is another one. But by running Puka Nacua just behind Ernest Jones and in front of Julian Love and Kobe Bryant, because the Seahawks will go to a nickel and a dime package. And so what happens with that, that means you've got multiple, obviously, DBs out there. So now the Seahawks have to account for some of the other Rams receivers. And in that, the Seahawks will try to, say, all right, Ernest, take a few steps back, right? But then you also have to be careful because if he takes a few steps back in terms of his coverage, trying to get Puka Nacua behind him, the Rams then will run the game. They'll run the ball. And so those are, again, some of the, these matchups that are going to be real critical. And the last time they played, see, that's the key. If you look at the Rams defense, let me go back to the Seahawks. If you look at the Rams offense and Puka Nacua as well, and I talked about, you got Davante Adams. Do not forget that. So you have to respect Davante Adams, right? Heisman Trophy winner. So if you're not going to account for him, well, he's going to burn you. So that Adams deserves some attention, which then say if you've got Julian Love kind of playing that 2 deep, 3 deep zone, then you're going to take Davante Adams underneath, or you're going to take Adams down. That is down the sideline route, because what that will do is that will then take one of your safeties. Either Kobe Bryant has to follow. Now, I mean, again, so Josh Jobe is going to cover. You're going to have a cornerback on Adams, but you're going to get free safety. I mean, you're going to get safety help. The Seahawks just call them safeties. So when one of those safeties is gone, now you'll have one safety, and that's where Puka Nacua comes in. And with his route, he's going to the space that was vacated by Davante Adams. Because there's nobody there, right? Because your cornerback and your free safety are all the way down there. And so those where your matchups are. So then Mike Macdonald's going to try to counter with, all right, I'm going to show the Rams I'm going to show Stafford maybe man, maybe a zone in their pre-snap, and then definitely they have to get in there. So let me do this. I'm going to just get the expert in, and we're just going to, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to get right to it. Corbin, how do you, thanks for coming in, man. I know, Corbin Smith of Emerald City Spectrum is going to join us. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Hey, can I just tell them what your moves that you're making? Is that okay? Can I make that public?
That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's actually wonderful news. Corbin Smith is, again, Emerald City Spectrum. Emerald City Spectrum. He's one of the most dedicated journalists that is out there. What do I mean by dedicated? Here's a guy that was living in Colorado and covering the Seahawks. Can you believe that? So he would travel to all the away games. He would travel, sometimes make it to practice for 2 seasons. That's dedication. And you know what? He wasn't reading any other people's stuff and kind of mailing it in. He's, as you know about, he's a deep, dark analysis, and I'm gonna get to him right away. I'm gonna stop talking, but I mean, it's just amazing. So now, guess what? He's coming home. So Corbin and his wonderful wife, I should say, are moving to Seattle. So right now he's been moving around, doing his thing. So, all right, Corbin, thank you for making the time. All right, how are the Seahawks going to defend Puka Nacua? I got people asking me. I need an expert.
Well, that's always easier said than done, Maz. But I think I think at the end of the day, they have got to play within themselves. I don't think it's a schematic thing necessarily. We saw some very uncharacteristic coverage busts in that last game that these two teams played. And you might remember, Maz, that Mike McDonald after the game said that he felt like, in retrospect, that he probably tried to squeeze too much in a short week. And his guys seemed like they weren't quite as sharp as they normally are. There were just some plays where it's like, why is Puka Nacua getting this wide open? So I don't even think it's necessarily about what schemes they're running. They have got to be playing their A game in terms of understanding what their game plan is, what they're doing coverage-wise, so that you're not letting Sean McVay manipulate you so this guy's getting wide open. I mean, the touchdown in overtime, for example, there wasn't a guy within 20 yards of Puka Nacua. That should never happen. So they've got to play better assignment sound football. To me, that is the biggest thing. I think the talent is there for them to be able to hold up well against Puka Nacua, but you cannot have coverage assignment busts like they did in that first matchup, or he is going to carve you up.
What causes the assignment bust up? Lack of communication pre-snap?
I would think that there probably just was not as confident of communication going on in that game because you have 3 days to prepare and you're playing an offense that does a lot of different things. They dress the same plays with different formations, stuff like that. It makes it tough if you are not 100% confident where everybody's supposed to be. So if you put too much in a short week, your players can feel like they're drowning rather than playing free and fast, if that makes sense. And I think that impacts the speed of your communication as well. So I'm sure Mike McDonald's looking at this week, and they're going to have a full week, which helps. But I think he's also probably looking at, hey, let's not make this so complicated that our guys are not playing fast.
Yeah, no, well said, because that's exactly what he said yesterday when I asked him the see ball, get ball question. And he said, what they try to do is just, to your point, make it real simple so players can play free. I mean, within their scheme. Who do you need to have their best game? We're going to defense, and we'll go to who right now needs to step up, if that's possible, on this defense, or to be consistent from last game to this game. Where's your concern? Like, I need him to be him. That makes sense.
I don't know that I necessarily have any players that I'm concerned about, but I want to see the defensive line get after Matthew Stafford. That has been the one thing that's been a struggle for them and we saw in the fourth quarter that last game when they started to get the comeback going, a big part of that was they started to get some pressure on Matthew Stafford. The first 3 quarters, he could have been in a lazy boy throwing. I mean, they weren't getting any pressure on him whatsoever. I'm wondering if Mike McDonald might have some more blitzes. And I don't know that he's going to be sending blitzes a ton because that just hasn't been his style this year. But the Chicago Bears had some success bringing extra defenders and getting after Matthew Stafford. I wonder if we see Mike McDonald unveil some of those kind of things this week to complement that defensive line. And I think that can open things up for your front line. But I need to see Leonard Williams. I need to see DeMarcus Lawrence. And I see Byron Murphy, Uchenna Nwosu, Boy Mafe. This is a big week for Boy Mafe. Can you get some pressure on Matthew Stafford and get some hits on him this week? Because if you don't, he'll carve you up. If you hit him, you saw last week, Chicago was able to keep that offense at bay for a good chunk of that game because they were getting pressure on Matthew Stafford. I think that front line, not necessarily calling them out, but play your game and take advantage of the opportunities to get after Matthew Stafford.
Nick Emenwari, where does he fit in then? Do you want to stay away from bringing him in the box, or is that part of the disguise that you're going to do?
Well, he's going to play in the box anyway. I mean, this is a team that's played a lot of 3 tight end sets this year. It's been quite a switch up for Sean McVay, and I expect they're still going to be doing a lot of that on Sunday. So you're going to be needing him to play defense against the likes of Tyler Higbee and former Seahawk Colby Parkinson, Ferguson, their rookie out of Oregon. You're going to need him to be able to defend those guys. So he's going to get plenty of slot action. He's going to get plenty of action in the box, and I anticipate Mike McDonald is going to send him a little bit to get after Matthew Stafford too. As I said, I think he'll be a little more aggressive this week, especially seeing what Chicago did. Not that they're going to do identical schemes, but they're going to try to draw up some stuff that can maximize that ability to maybe catch him off guard a little bit and get some pressure.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to hold you over. We're going to go on break, and then why don't we? And then Corbin, can you stay for about 5 or 7 minutes on the other, 10 minutes on the other side?
Absolutely.
Let you go.
Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, let's go on break, and we will return. This is Seattle Sports Weekly with Corbin Smith. I'm Masvida Mara Ire.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares about our community.
Yeah. This February, Rainier Avenue Radio presents the 2026 Call to Conscience Black History Month celebration. This year features a special tribute to Lenny Wilkins, honoring his legacy on and off the court. A powerful Black History Month installation on African Americans in the Metro League. An original African-rooted storytelling performed by Arsalan Ibrahim. Exhibits, tributes, live radio, and conversations that connect generations. Call to Conscience 2026 at the historic Columbia City Theater. Learn more at calltoconscience.org.
Hey community, listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday, 10:45 a.m.
We invite you to get up and call a friend and tell them that New Hope is on live. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Now, our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Robert L. Jeffrey Sr.
everybody clap your hand, come on.
Listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday, 10:45 a.m.
What do you get when culture, climate, and community collide? You get Earth Deserves More Than a Day. Rainier Avenue Radio and King County Park stew down with a week of real talk, real people, and real solutions. This ain't your average Earth Day. Tune in and feel the energy, because the movement is now.
Hey Seattle, tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
What up, yo? We are back. This is Pep, and the man that don't take no mess, Mr. O-P-I-S, Mr. Stevenson. What say you?
I hope you see the hat that I'm wearing right now. That's how mad I am.
I do. Man, you are angry.
I just want to make that be known.
Tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Lidline Sports.
Sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish River has begun. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the members of the Lower Duwamish Waterway Group, which includes King County, the City of Seattle, and Boeing, have begun sediment cleanup of the Lower Duwamish Waterfalls Superfund site. This important environmental project will address sediment pollution and help restore the health of the Duwamish River. Starting in the waterway's upper reach, construction activities extend from the south 102nd Street Bridge down straight to the Duwamish Waterway Park. Over the next 3 years, in-water activities will occur from October to February, ending in February 2027. Visit ldwg.org to learn about the upper reach cleanup and sign up for email updates.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue.world.
All right, let's get right back to it. This is the second half of Seattle Sports Weekly. I'm Mara Era, and just really honored to have the one and only Corbin Smith of the Emerald City Spectrum in Denver. And after this week, he will be in Seattle. Well, I'm sure he'll be in Seattle, but hopefully in Santa Clara Levi Stadium in a couple of weeks. But Corbin, thanks for hanging on, brother. Let's go to the offensive side. Sam Darnold And I did look this up because Mike Kyle Shanahan Toradol. You know what that is?
Unfortunately, I do when I was a player.
Tell the audience what that has to do with Sam Darnold and Shanahan, because he let them be, right, didn't he?
I think that was a little, that was kind of a friendly, we just got our butt kicked, but here's a friendly jeer. That a guy that, Kyle Shanahan was instrumental in getting Sam Darnold's career back on track. So, he's probably thinking like, why did I do that? But I had to make the comment about the Toradol shot because let's face it, the 49ers coaches had plenty of players that have been banged up and have had to try to play through injuries. So he knows what goes into that entire process all too well. So I'm presuming that that's definitely what Sam had before the game. Probably after he was tossing the ball around in the locker room, probably got it then and then went out in uniform and played and played pretty good football, even with the Seahawks not asking him to do too much. They didn't need him to do too much last weekend.
Yeah, Toradol is an injection you take. It's on an anti-inflammatory shot. So that's what that is. All right. So what do you need? I mean, we're assuming Sam will be fine and he'll play, and actually with another week of rest here. But what do you need from Sam Darnold this week? Because, you can't go 4 interceptions. Week 11, right? 4 interceptions. And then you had 2 interceptions in week 16. You were sacked 4 times. Good Lord.
Well, I think this game's going to be a little different in the sense that, the Rams last week had a pretty good game defensively. They only gave up 17 points to the Chicago Bears. But you look at the games before then from week 12 through the wild card round, they were giving up more than 28 points per game. They have had major issues on the outside, giving up big plays downfield. The cornerback spot has been a problem. They were hoping Ahkello Witherspoon was going to help fix some of that, and then he got re-injured. So he's out. So they've got some major concerns in that outside corner spot. You need to find that balancing act here where, like, you can't have Sam Darnold throwing a bunch of picks. Like, you can't have 3 or 4 interceptions in this game, but you also can't have him holding back, trying not to make a bunch of mistakes. You got to let him play within himself. You got to let him be able to take some of those shots downfield. I think that's going to be a bigger part of the game plan and a bigger necessity this week, especially without Zach Charbonnet, having both your running backs. I still think Seattle will be able to run the football. But I think they're going to need more from Sam in terms of being able to lift the offense and getting some of those plays downfield in this game. And it's going to be on the offensive line to give him the time to be able to do that, as the Rams have a history of getting after Sam Darnold. But they didn't do that very much in the last matchup. So if Seattle's O-line can carry that over and you can get some of those plays downfield, Shaheed and Smith and Jigba, I think you can maybe there's a chance Elijah Arroyo comes back this week. We'll see. But you got to get a few shot plays in this game. You weren't necessarily needing that on Saturday. I think in this game, it's going to be imperative they get a few of those to be able to win this one.
And then in the same role, Cooper Kupp seems to be becoming part of this offense, not so much in the volume, but the impact of the. What are you seeing from him? And obviously that is helping the Seahawks offense. Fair question.
Yeah, could you rephrase that real quick? Because I'm just trying to think of the best answer.
Cooper Kupp has now become, an integral part of this offense. And it's not so much the number of receptions, it's when he's getting those receptions.
Yeah, I love how Mike McDonald put it the other day, the high leverage situations. That is where this reliable veteran shows up, and he's been doing it all year. Look back at that matchup that they had against the Rams in week 16, had a 24-yard catch in that game that set up a key scoring drive for them. He has come through in those clutch moments when they need him to show up. And he is such an invaluable player when he doesn't have the football in his hands. Like, you don't say that about a lot of wide receivers, but he's as good of a run blocker as there is in the NFL. And I think there's a contagiousness to that. You see other receivers, they're like, man, look at this vet that's been a Triple Crown winner, and he's out here every play just blocking his tail off. Like, I'm not letting him do that and then getting caught not doing my job. And I think that's been a big part of Seattle's run game ascending. Like, if you want to have a great run game, you got to have all hands on deck, being willing to block and do the dirty work. And I think Seattle's receivers have really embraced that, because Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp isn't going to take, he's not going to take any on that. He is prideful about his blocking. So the receiving numbers might not be there, but he comes through when they need him to, and Darnold looks for him in those situations. And then you add into the blocking and just all the dirty work that he does. He has been well worth the contract that they paid him, even if he's not 1,000-yard receiver anymore, 100 reception receiver anymore. He does so many things that don't show up in the box score, and the stuff that does show up in the box score, high leverage situations consistently for Seattle's passing game.
Yeah, and blocking is also the tight ends, right? That's been an integral part of their game. But is there something to be said that if I'm covering you and you're the tight end and I'm, the DB or whatnot, so you're blocking, something to be said that maybe I'm thinking, oh, well, he's going to block on this one, and then you do a release route, and then you catch me sleeping?
Well, Seattle did that a couple times in that last matchup against the Rams, including with Eric Saubert on that 2-point conversion play, where, he's not a guy that's known for catching the football very often. The Rams just kind of got caught sleeping there. So, yeah, I think there's definitely the really good tight ends know how to do that. They know how to lull their defenders into sleep with the blocking, and they do such a good job of making all of their releases look similar too. Even if they're looking like they're going to block, they do a good job of selling that and then get out into their route. And I think all of Seattle's tight ends, Elijah Arroyo, I think is somebody that's going to have to work a little bit more on that, but he's a rookie. I think Saubert's pretty good at it. AJ Barner's become a master at that. Brady Russell has an ability to do that when Seattle uses him in that position. So I think Seattle's got some very well versed guys in terms of knowing how to do that technique wise.
You were a coach in high school. So going back to the run game, do you maybe put the fullback, more formations with the fullback in there along with Ken Walker, or is just me thinking stuff? Is that an option for the Seahawks?
I believe that Oots was out the last game these two teams played as a healthy scratch. I have to go back and double check that, but it seemed like Seattle kind of pivoted away from the fullback. I think they go back to it this week, and I think it boils down to what they want to do in January football and establishing that physicality up front. Really force the Rams to bring up an extra defender to deal with that extra guy in the box, get some of those play action opportunities, and then take advantage of your one-on-ones with the corners and the outside. Seattle's had opportunities. Rashid Shaheed had Forbes burned in the first matchup, and Darnold just underthrew it a little bit, and Forbes got his hand on it and broke it up. Could have been a long touchdown. I feel like there will be opportunities there, but I think getting some of that more max protection look, but then getting some shots off of it is going to help your run game, and it's going to help some of your play action passes. I think they've been waiting to bring that back out for this matchup and utilize those two back sets.
Okay, and what move are you going to make you can only make one more, right? That is from the IR to designated to practice, and we kind of figure you would think that'd be George Halani, right?
If Halani is ready to go, that is the obvious pick, because you don't need a tight end, you need a running back with Zach Charbonnet being out. And I think that Halani he is not an identical player. He's not going to be quite as ferocious running between the tackles, but he'll break tackles and he's got great burst. I just think he's the closest that you've got as far as a guy that can come in and be a true number two behind Ken Walker III, and he knows the offense. He's played snaps against this Rams defense before. And then you could have Velus Jones as your number 3 guy with the 4.3 speed. I think having another guy on your roster that can really be a home run hitting threat and also has special teams value, I think that's where you can see all 4 of their backs be dressing. Cam Akers could be a practice squad elevation as well to try to pick up the slack. And all 3 of those guys have played special teams. So, but I think that move has to be Halani if he's ready. If not, I don't know that they can afford to bring anybody else back because they're going to need that spot to bring up one of their running backs to the 53-man roster. So they're going to have to do some movement this week, I think. But Helani would be the obvious pick for who's going to get that IR designation.
All right. I just one more for you here before I let you go. Well, I mean, it's open-ended. Just what are your take on Sunday's game? Just your thoughts.
I think this is another one of those true flip a coin type matchups. The Rams, unlike the 49ers, Sean McVay's figured some things out when it comes to Mike McDonald's defense. Again, I think some of that was self-inflicted in that last matchup. Seattle is going to be much better in terms of being polished with their communication and their game plan this week. I'm 100% confident on that. I don't think we're going to see near as many points as we saw the last matchup. I expect this to be in the low to mid 20s for both teams. I'm not anticipating a 38-37 game. I think the defenses are going to play better. And, I don't know who's going to win just yet. It's too early in the week for me to make that call. But I think by the end of the week, have a little better idea here. But the Rams just match up so well with Seattle. Seattle matches up well with them. I think these are two incredibly evenly matched teams. So I don't expect to see quite as many fireworks points-wise as we saw last time around.
Okay, having said that, it's going to be 42-41. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I know fans would probably love that, but yeah, I'm anticipating a little bit more defense this game than we saw last time.
Yeah, well said from X's and O's perspective. All right, Corbin, thank you. He is Corbin Smith, Emerald City Spectrum. Appreciate you, and I'll see you Sunday, brother.
Sounds good, man. See you at Lumen.
All right. Okay, there he goes. So we're going to switch gears. There was a game last night. What do you mean there was a game last night? Yeah, there was a college game. I want Sam to come out swinging for the fences, get on top fast. Okay, there you go. I think they will do a little bit of a get Sam out there. And what do I mean by that? Yeah, they'll probably throw a rhythm pass early in the game. And you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to ask a coach, former college coach, high school and college, and he's still in the know in terms of what's happening. And he is Scott Lego. And coach, we had a game last night. What was your thoughts of the game last night? Lego Maego. There you go. Hold on. You're on mute.
There you go. Sorry about that.
I thought you were boycotting me since I've been butchering your name for 5 years. Like, I'll show you.
That's okay, my friend. It's been butchered all of its life. Trust me.
Welcome. So glad to have you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, good game last night and big game on Sunday this week. An epic night last night. Team goes 16-0, which is very unheard of in college football anymore. Got to see that team personally up close and personal once, which wasn't a lot of fun. But they are who they are and what they did. But to be honest with you, I mean, been thinking a lot about the Gas man, Mike Gastineau, from yesterday and today. He's a longtime Indiana fan, went there, graduated, and I wrote him a little note on Facebook. I just said, those are the good things about NIL and portal, how quickly something can change for a program. And, from the second losingest program in NCAA history to national champions in 16-0, that's where the portal and NIL can be a benefit and be a thing. I guess my only other question would be then, or not my question, but my comment would be, is it sustainable? Will this, model continue to work for Coach Signetti and do that? I think it was, personally, this is my personal opinion, I think it was magic in a genie in a bottle. I think it was perfect timing. You got the JMU kids to come, they buy in, they do all the right things. Average age is 22 and a half years old for their roster. All those things just have to hit right. and make it happen. So I don't know if that model can continue. Can you just go into the portal and get older guys and make it happen every year? I think it has to be a perfect mix. I think it has to be a little bit of portal, and I think it has to be high school and development and things like that. So, but it'll be interesting to see the model, because obviously you look at, Coach Campbell at Iowa State going to Penn State. He's brought about 20 players with him. I think that Coach Franklin at Penn State brought a few of the Penn State guys over to Virginia Tech. Summerall, I know, brought some guys to Florida. So it's definitely the model that a lot of these guys are going to try to use. Can you do it? Can you make your culture click that fast? I'm in question of it, but it's an interesting intrigue. But but for the gas man's sake and for Indiana, pretty incredible, 16-0. What I saw some statistics from ESPN this morning, from the losingest program to now winning the national championship.
As a coach, you've coached on so many levels, and you still, we know you're connected in certain programs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when you now go to this program, well, let's start with, I don't even know how to ask. I don't know what to ask, but the expectations to win, how have they changed, especially when you're going from one school to the next?
Well, I think, unfortunately, we're just in a day and age, Maz. It's not like the old days. The good thing about the Indiana example for a lot of coaches is there's a model. Okay, there's we just talked about older guys in other programs, bringing them in. There's the model. The bad part about that, especially for these young coaches that are coming in, it's the old days where I have a 2 to 5 year plan. Well, there's no 2 to 5 year plan. Coach Signetti did it in 1 year. And so you got to start, the ball has got to be rocking and rolling. You better have a great personnel department that you're bringing with you that really can identify talent, how the portal can work to your advantage quickly. And unfortunately, you're talking about crazy expectations. I mean, look at Lane Kiffin this year. Maybe, we can argue if he would have been there, if he wouldn't have been there, but maybe his best chance to maybe win the national championship with Ole Miss, but rolls to go to LSU. And now he's trying to do the same thing down at LSU. And he's, not really, I don't think, bringing a lot of Ole Miss players, and so bringing the staff. But can you do it? And we both know that, you and I both know the expectations of an LSU. They expect to win a national championship. It's not let's build this thing. It's we expect you to do it. We have talent base here in the Louisiana. We know we can go after the portal. We can go after guys we want, and you better make it happen. So I know the Seton kid from Colorado's down there, the big offensive lineman. How much money are they going to offer him and do those things? And, so it's doable, but the expectations and what you have to do, you have to step in from day one and say, we're going to win, and we're going to win right away. And, and even to the point where you and I have talked about it in the past, could an IU win? Let's be honest, it's deemed a basketball school. It's been known for Bobby Knight. Could it do it? Well, it just proved it could do it. Will Will Stein do that at Kentucky? I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out. So you've got to be able to figure this thing out, but you've got to do it quickly because the expectations are there. And now with Indiana winning, I guarantee a lot of the programs that are right below the cusp of the Blue Bloods are all like, hey, if they can do it, we're going to go do it. And so I think you just have to have the right mix. And, let's be honest and blunt about this thing too. You also have to have a pretty good booster, and Indiana had a good one in Mark Cuban. So you got to have all those things that are kind of sitting in your back pocket.
So, and what does this do? Let's go inside a coach's head. What does this do to your coaching then, in terms of your messaging, getting this, getting the reps in, getting ready from first practice in the summer, right? Because it's truncated, because you're not saying, hey, we're going to play a couple of cupcakes. What's that like now when you're sitting with your assistant coaches, getting ready to say, okay, guys, let's get our team together. Here's the vision.
Yeah, I think, Maz, that's a good question for two reasons. One, I think it really affects the way, unfortunately, recruiting has gone now. And you and I have talked about that with what I do with student athlete advocates. But the bottom line is this: when they go through rosters, you're either producing or you're out. There were 10,000 kids in the portal this year. 10,000. Now, I would probably argue 75% of those kids were probably kids that wanted to look around and see what they could do. 25% were told, there's the door. You're not going to make it here. You need to go and you need to move on. And so I think that's unfortunately the part of the realm that we're dealing with. And in answering your question, you walk in and you're telling your program, we don't have time to waste, man. We are going to go 100 miles an hour. And you better hold on. You better strap up, because we are going to train like we're going to go win the national championship. We have the resources. We have the people in this building. And if you're not making it, you're not producing, you're not productive, then you're out. And we only want people that are productive and going to do it. And that's just the lay of the land. And that's every sport in the country. That's just not football. That's everybody. If you're not producing, look at, you know enough about the UW basketball team. We're probably talking their 4th or 5th roster that they've had in the last 5 years. It's production and what you're doing. And it's a vision of the coach, but it's also a part of, if that's not happening, if that's not the right model or the right group, boom, they clean house, start all over, and go get another, so many guys and make it happen again. So, and you can do it now with the portal. I mean, there's enough guys. Like I said, 10,000 guys. When they say when it was at 6,000, they were talking about you can make 130 teams. At 10,000, you can make a lot of football teams with that many football players. This year I helped a kid from the Division III program here locally move up to a FCS school. But I told him to get ahead of it because I knew what was coming down the pike. And then, that was way before the 3,000, the 6,000, let alone the 10,000. So you have to have a plan, go ahead. But it's about production. And that kid was very productive at a D3 school, and it got himself a chance to go to the FCS level. So it's doable. You can make it happen, but you have to, you better be able to produce from the minute you walk in. The old days of, the red shirt, 5 years, build them up, bring them along, build the program for so many years and get bowl practices in, all that kind of stuff, that's gone. It is like you're either producing or you're gone. And we can, look at a lot of rosters. I mean, the kid that made the play last night for Indiana to win the game, where was he from? Miami, from the great program of Northwestern High School down there in Miami area. So, I mean, Indiana got a Miami kid to beat Miami in Miami. So it's just the way it is nowadays.
All right. Let's go through some quick numbers, because I'm not sure audiences or people are really aware of the numbers here. I know you're generalizing, right? So, starting wide receiver, how much am I making?
I mean, in general, you're going to make from about 400,000 to, if you're an elite guy, $1 million.
That's crazy. All right. I am the guy behind him. How much am I making? But to your point, with a caveat that if he goes down, I'm starting, right? Like you said, it isn't like, how much am I making?
You're probably right underneath that. I mean, it's the amount of money that these kids are getting is crazy. But again, it's about production. It's about what you're doing. But on the other end of the deal too, that's just so. When nowadays, when you sign two deals. You sign one with the school, and then you do a rev share, which the rev share is based upon the dollars that brought in the money, i.e., let's talk about Desmond Williams. I mean, that's Devon Williams, and that's how they got him to stay, because he signed that deal with the University of Washington. So there's the big difference that most people don't understand. And so when you're talking about true NIL money, NIL money, you're talking. I've seen statistics from $7,000 to $10,000 straight getting paid. That's a whole nother difference, and that's where that revenue comes in, and that comes from the media and all the other stuff that you have in your program and stuff like that. But the rumor on the street is the kid that's the quarterback that went to Texas Tech was getting $5 million, and he's going to make more in 1 year than Shadur's contract right now at the Cleveland Browns for a couple of years. He's at 4.4, and the kid 1 year at Texas Tech is going to make 5. So why do you think these kids are staying in college? There's a positive and a negative to every single thing we always talk about. I think you and I know you're under the same thing that I think. I think the kids do deserve a piece of the pie. How we're given the piece of pie is my concern, and the way we don't construct rules and guidelines around them. I know for a fact that about 10 to 15 years, there's going to be a 30 for 30 about the 2022 to 2025 NIL period of college football or college athletics, because I'm sure we are on the tip of the iceberg of the stories that are really, really out there. So college football needs to fix things, and they need to get to it sooner, or I should say not college football, college athletics. And I do think that there's a model there. I think that they need to get Chris Petersons and Gene Smith, all the guys that retired, Jay Wrights, and make them kind of the governing board and get on a whiteboard and figure it out. They know where all the, pardon the expression, the dead bodies are buried. They know all the pitfalls and the holes in the system, and figure that out and then start from there. The tube is out of the paste is out of the tube. We're not putting it back. I get that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is using what is present day construct of what we're dealing with and how we do it. So let's go back to even to the $5 million for the Texas Tech deal. They're talking about $22 million for the whole program, and one guy's going to get $5. So you do the math. Everybody else is dollars.
All right, I got to bring you back next week. We got to be continued. So great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. All right, we got to go. What a great show. Thanks. Thank you. Edwin Smith, Emerald City Spectrum, and Scott Liger. Thanks, E-Money. All right. Y'all next week.